There you go. Put them glasses.
Morning. Yeah, my glasses. I'm blind as a bat. You know that. Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday again. Welcome to People, Passion, and Purpose. Hi, Mike. Mike, are you there?
I am. Hey, show everybody the world's largest potholder, man. That is
Okay. Can
beautiful.
can you? I was just gonna say, can you please make a comment on how beautiful this is? Ah, I
It's a
finished it last
shawl.
night. It's a shawl.
My grandmother, because I kept saying cape when I was little. She says, not a cape. I'm not Batman. It's a shawl. Okay.
It's a
And I'm like,
shawl.
oh,
And it is a queen size shawl because I am queen size. I'm, 5'10" and 170 pounds. So it needed to fit my body type. So, and yeah, I finished it last night right after we were off your show, dude.
like Wonder Woman. Yes, ma'am. Hey,
Thank you.
and who doesn't love Wonder Woman from Montreal? So, hey, real
On
quick,
top
I'm
of it.
super excited. I got to spoil it. The Hound's been around, what, coming on 2 years, at least a year and a half. I've known this guy, Chason, for gosh, at least a year and a half. And, all heart, he just made something out of nothing from his passion to help people. And that's what this show's about, right? People, passion, and purpose. So seriously, you're in for a treat. The very first organization, nonprofit that the Hounds and myself have endorsed and supported fully and publicly. So it's a big deal to us, not a little deal. But we want to make sure folks understand, what's going on here. And I'm not going to spoil it, but it's not just handouts here; it's hand ups, and it's self sufficiency. Man, they're creating something special, helping people get off dependency, and the folks want to do it. So, dadgummit, I can't wait for this show. Thank you, Isabel, for your leadership in the Hounds, for making these things possible and spotlighting these amazing folks, man. And it's an honor to have all of you here. Man, I'm blessed beyond measure.
Well, on that beautiful note, I have nothing to say. We can just, roll the intro, guys.
Let's do it. Let's do
Let's
it.
do it. Business is no longer only about products and services. More than ever, it's about connection and community. Business is about people. And that's why I created these live events. Every week, join me in discovering one remarkable individual. No shop talk here. It's about who they are and not what they do. My name is Isabelle Fortin, and welcome to People, Passion, and Purpose. Oh, sorry. Sindel, poor Sindel. No, it was me. Guys, I have to take 1 second and thank Sindel because she is saving my butt today. She is running the back end of my show, and I could not appreciate her more. I asked her to join me. She really doesn't want to, but next week I'm going to introduce you guys to her because she's so lovely, and I already love her. But in the meantime, I do this every Thursday morning at 10 Eastern. I introduce you to somebody that I truly, truly love or admire, and sometimes I've never spoken to them before, but in this case, I have spoken to him before, and it took a whole 10 seconds to realize that I would love him for a long, long time. Guys, please welcome to the show my friend Chason Forehand. Hi, Chason.
I love that. I love your intro. I love the music. I love that background behind you. I love your shawl. I love your hair.
Yes. Well, I'm due for a little bit of a purple attitude in my hair, and that's gonna come very soon. How you doing, Jason? I'm so happy you're here.
I appreciate you inviting me onto the show. It's
Hey,
great to be here.
I can't have people, passion, and purpose and not invite you on. Come on now. That'd be a little bit silly, wouldn't it?
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate the shout out from Mike and all the love from the Hounds. I tried to give a little bit of love back to the Hounds today because they've just been phenomenal. So many great people. And there's so many more people for me to meet. like Sindel in the background. So
Yeah, well, you don't give a little back, you give a lot back. Don't minimize the impact that you have on all of our lives, dude. I want to take I usually don't do this, but this is extremely important. I want to give you the opportunity to talk about your nonprofit and what is going on right now.
well, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. We are creating our biggest program, which is Transformation Kitchen. It's to not only knock out food insecurity by helping shelters and after school programs get nutritious food, but it's also reskilling and upskilling people that are in underserved communities that typically have a hard time finding a living wage job, getting them through our culinary program, teaching them power skills, life skills, culinary skills, and getting them a living wage job either with the kitchen itself or with a culinary partner. And we've got our first fundraiser of the year that we're doing is called March for Good. It's March 24th through the 30th. It's a virtual race. And our friends Dustin Dale, who was on the show last night with Mike and you, he was there taking my spot as I was talking to someone in Canada about their nonprofit and our collaboration. So I'm sorry that I missed it. I had to watch it after the fact, but it was a fantastic show.
Oh, thank you.
Fantastic show.
We had such great guests. I mean, come on, how can you not have a great show when you have Meredith and D. Grant Smith?
Oh my goodness. I just got to meet Meredith. Or have an meet, with her. And I had met D. Grant before. Like D. Grant and I could have talked for hours. Like when you and I met, it was like it could have been hours of conversation. Same with D. Grant. It's like, okay, yeah. I've got to get off now. I've got other stuff I've got to do. But I finally got to meet Meredith actually yesterday before the show. It was fantastic.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It's so funny because D. Grant Smith and I we chat through WhatsApp, and we usually leave voice messages to one another. And I think the shortest one was 2.5 minutes, I think. And that's more than likely because one of us was in a hurry because and what's not to love about D. Grant Smith? Anyway, let's come back to you because this show is about you, and Andy is coming to the show, so he'll have his spotlight for sure. But guys in the audience, it's always the same thing with my show every Thursday morning, where we talk about the people, the passion, and the purpose of the guests. So my first question, my lovely friend Chason, is dead or alive, who has had the most influence on your life and why?
I think there's a couple of people that come to mind.
Okay.
And one was surprisingly enough, was a Franciscan monk that I met in a monastery.
A story there.
There's a huge story. I'm just going to say the little bit. So while I was struggling with my addictions, this guy, this stout dude that looked like a dwarf, he looks like me, he's even wider than I am, but I say I'm as tall as I am wide, and I'm only 5'8", but I'm really wide. And this guy was thicker than me and big old beard, wore the robe with the rope. And I was like, this is out of a movie. But he was someone that while I was battling with all my addictions in college, and I was having trouble with family members and friends and with the college itself, he was someone that was not judging me, was someone to talk to, was someone to just be a light. Didn't try to hit me up with, religious jargon or, save my soul. He was just there to be someone that created a psychologically safe space for me when I needed it really the most. So that is someone that really meant a lot to me at a very influential time in my life, and helped me start to get on a good path. Started planting the seeds.
And what's the key element? What is there a particular sentence that he shared with you? Was there a triggering moment in that relationship that you went, Oh, okay. I've never looked at it this way, or was just, the overall relationship that helped you.
I think the biggest thing that, and it didn't take it didn't take until, really years later. Like I literally lost contact with him because of where my life was taking me
Mm.
and the throngs of being in an addict and being on the street, and not have you just being a wreck. But it's settled. It's like that seed that gets planted, and later on it starts blooming, and it starts blooming in your head, and finally it comes out, and you really hear the message. You really hear it. He let me know that I mattered. And
Oh.
he kept planting that seed through all of our conversations in the 2 years that I knew him and that I kept coming back to him. He kept, and they even housed me for a while, which is like, it's not supposed to happen. Like, you're not supposed to be on the premises if you're
Yeah.
not part of this.
Yeah.
And I certainly wasn't. I was the furthest thing from a monk you could ever. I mean, I was a
I don't
wreck.
get the monk vibe.
I mean, if you looked at my racy right lifestyle during that time period, you'd have been like, "What is this dude doing in here? Like, did you invite the devil in here just to like change everything?" But he, they even housed me for a little while, and I will say that seed that kept being planted of you matter, you're worthy. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. It doesn't matter what this keeps telling you. You are worthy. And that really, I think the thing that kind of connected those dots, I've been married for 25 years, and this isn't my first marriage, but I will say that my wife Jody took that message, didn't know anything about that story. Actually, we didn't even discuss that part of my life for a long time. And it became, because it was uncomfortable, but it became something that was her theme and how she approached us becoming friends before we got married, and sharing with me that I mattered and that she knew I was still working through things and it was okay.
It's it's so powerful because we tend to forget that the day you plant the seed is not the day you collect the fruit.
Exactly.
And we need people like that in our lives. And even us, when we impact other people, the way that we impact other people is by showing up as who we are and doing our damn best every damn day. And how we impact others doesn't belong to us. He was just being himself, being the kind soul that he was. And he was just telling you that you mattered to him. And by showing you that you mattered to him, it made you understand that you matter, period. So that's so beautiful because sometimes we get into these vibes where it's like, well, I'm not going to connect with this person. I can't help that person. Especially empath like you and I and Mike and Dee and Sierra and all, I could name a lot of people in the house that are empath. And we're like, well, yeah, but I can't help. Well, you don't know. Just show up. Show up. Be who you are. Share your message, much like what you're sharing now. Share your message, and you don't know how it's going to impact the world. Just do that. So that's a beautiful story, and it's such a serendipity that decades later, your wife now is just coming back to that theme, and everything in your life is kind of interconnected. That's, whatever we want to call it, is that how our higher power that's just thinking, okay, so the carrots are there and we're going to make a salad, and the cucumbers is from this part of and then we're going to add a little bit of vinaigrette, and that's what you're doing now, right?
Absolutely.
That's so beautiful. I love that. When I asked the question, you went, I have a few of them. I will, of course, give you time to name somebody else if you feel like it. And if not, I'll go to the next question.
Well, you know what? I will name one other person. There was a chef that was regionally really well known in New York was not on the radar of all the fancy things that, people look at. He wasn't a Michelin star guy or anything like that. He had multiple times been nominated for a James Beard Award, but here's a simple guy that came from Italy, spoke 3 languages, and his whole family came to the States, and he created his own restaurant that was a high-end white tablecloth, superb, just off the charts kind of place. Everything created from scratch. Everything just very unique and well done. And he pushed me. I would not be able to do the things that I've done in my life in the culinary world and even think about this culinary school, the Transformation Kitchen, if it wasn't for this chef. Chef Giona Stanco, he pushed me to get outside of my comfort zone because he saw my gifts, and he said, "No, you're going to go run this catering thing by yourself." I'm like, I was petrified. I'm literally going to someone's house to cook in their kitchen. I've never seen their kitchen. I have no idea, but I have all the ingredients, all the stuff that we're bringing, and we're going to go do this catering party because that's one of the things that he did. He had his own little cooking school, and he made me do that. He made me show up and teach a class, and he just didn't show up and made me do it myself. Then he sent me out to do these catering parties at people's homes and just make it happen and be lively and get out of my comfort zone. He forced me to tap in to the things inside and shine. And because of that, I was able to get into doing a lot of things in my life that I would never, ever have been able to do because I was stuck. You work through these things. We talk about being worthy, and the real demon is what's in between our 2 ears. That thing that constantly tells us that, shines all that negativity. And there's all these, I'm going to squirrel here for a minute, but there's all of these surveys that tell you about how many negative thoughts go through your brain in the course of like an hour
and a day.
Or a day.
Yeah.
And so, I think he showed me how to overcome those things by just doing. Stop thinking. You already have the talent. You have the skill. Just go do. Just don't give yourself time to sit there and talk yourself out of it. Just go do. You know what you are capable of. You may not even know what you're capable of. No. Just take the steps and go do.
And that's often the problem, is that we don't know what we don't see because we're biased. We live with all our limiting beliefs, and we all have limiting beliefs. If you think you don't, and I'm not talking to you personally, but anybody in the audience, anybody watching this 10 years from now, if you think you don't have limiting beliefs, I call bullshit. We all have limiting beliefs. It comes from our culture, our families, our upbringing, and the stories that we picked up, along the way. And while we were developing our mindset, and we all do. And mindset is just the hardest freaking thing to do because it is literally trying to read the label from inside the bottle. So we need outside validation, and it is created this way by design. It's created this way so that humans needs other humans.
Yeah.
And thank goodness. Can you imagine if we were 100% self-sufficient? That'd be boring. Holy crap, that would be boring. Come on. So I need Chason to look at me and say, Isabel, of course you can do this. And Chason needs Isabel to say, why haven't you done this yet? Well, I've never thought about it because I don't think I'm capable. And just look at you, pat your back, but you kick your butt and say, you just don't worry about being afraid of doing it. Just do it. And, the how is going to show up.
Yeah.
So that's so important. It's such a great message this morning because we all need it. We all need it. All of us. And it always comes from somebody saying, yeah, you're like this, you do this for me. And you go, What do you mean? And the worst things that we are at is our highest unique abilities, because we tend to think that everybody is capable of doing that because it's your unique ability, right? So it's like, it's not, you don't even think, you just do that, and and then you go, well, what do you mean that's a unique ability? Everybody does that. And it takes somebody to look at you and say, well, actually, no, not everybody does
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And if some people do that, they don't do it in your way. So that's beautiful, because look at, he trusted you, he showed you you could, and of course you could.
Yeah.
And look at what you're doing with that talent now. Putting
It's
it in,
crazy. It's
yeah, putting
crazy.
in service of others. That's so beautiful. I have a funny feeling, but I don't want to be, I don't want to presume, but I have a funny feeling I know the answer to the next question. So I'm still going to shush about it. So my next question is, what is or are your passion or passions? And more importantly, how did you discover it or them?
Well, I have several, and I think that you
I
I
knew
think
the
it's
answer.
I think people have I think your passions can change.
Yes.
I think that sometimes it takes a while to find passion, and I think people sometimes confuse passions with purpose, because not all of my passions are my purpose. But I started at a young age as a musician. I play several instruments, and I'm a vocalist. I was singer-songwriter that was on a small label and toured up and down the East Coast, playing at places that I'm very proud to be able to have played. CBGB's Gallery Side before it closed down, and Paul Colby's The Bitter End, places that are hard to get into. And those experiences, I'm sitting here looking at my keyboard that's in my office, and I love it. It's, for me, it's cathartic now. I don't care about
Mm.
necessarily writing a hit song or anything like that. I'm not worried about that. For
Yeah.
me, it's, I can get on here and I can I can just escape. I also
Mm.
enjoy cooking, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously. So, my wife loves it because that's not her favorite thing. It's not her passion. And so for 25 years, I've challenged her palate, and we have come a long way. My wife is my wife my wife is from a small town in South Carolina in the United States, and she is used to really unhealthy foods, a lot of casseroles, not a lot of vegetables. And we have, like, if you knew her 25 years ago, 30 years ago, and you were to see her now and what she eats, you would be like, no. But yeah, and I mean, she's just incredible. She's an incredible human being, but her palate has changed over time. And I think the thing that I'm most passionate about, and it has become my purpose, is pouring into other people and finding
Mm.
ways to help others. And
Yeah.
that is why I do what I do with the nonprofit. But
Yeah.
right now we're all volunteers. For 2 years, I've been pouring in and working wearing multiple hats,
Yeah.
crazy hours, and none of us get paid for this. And it's because that we're pouring all of our funding, and not only do we not get paid, but we pay in.
Yeah.
The board of directors and myself pay in every single month to make sure that we cover all the bills so that we can keep doing what we do.
Yeah.
And I think that feeds me internally. I am a person of faith, and I won't go into all of that, but I will say that, that's a guiding light for me that
Mhm.
helps me with all the other passions and keeps me in line.
Yeah.
And I think you have to keep circling back around. I think the other thing is that, you have to stop and kind of keep reevaluating. Am I doing the things that I'm passionate about? Am I fulfilling my purpose? And really get yourself centered and grounded. So I love, like Dr. New, I was on with her the other day, doing some meditation and learning that, sometimes I need to stop. I do it in I do it in the morning and I do it at night, but sometimes I need to stop in the middle of the day
Yeah.
and take that 5 minutes and recenter.
Yes.
So I see you in the audience, Dr. New, and I'm calling you out. Love
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much.
What's not to love? I mean, she's
Uh,
the kindest person on earth. Seriously,
I mean, yeah,
the woman has no flaw.
she's incredible.
If she does, I have never seen any of them. I don't want to make your show about her, but yeah, she's the kindest person on earth. If you're
She's
not,
awesome. We
yeah,
can
if you're
make it
not
all
connected
about her
to Dr. New, please go, please now, right now, go
right now.
connect with her. Yeah, it's I like it because what you said about, you took your passion, you make it your purpose, because that's what it is, right? That's how we discover our purpose. And I'll even go a step further, and I say that extremely often, we don't find our purpose. We reconnect to our purpose. When
I
we
like that.
decided to become this human form that we are, and live through the experiences that we were going to live, we knew what the hell we were coming to do. So it's just a matter of reconnecting to it. So what was it? Because you've already shared your purpose a little bit more, and of course you can elaborate, but what was it that triggered the fact that you reconnected to that purpose?
I had worked in nonprofits and with nonprofits for many years, but I think what reconnected me is the pandemic. During the pandemic, my consulting business in human resources lost 75% of my clients
Yeah.
because I was going to New York City and Westchester, and all of that was shut. So I started doubling down on doing pro bono work
Mm.
in the human resources space for nonprofits, because now all of a sudden they not only did they lose part of their funding, but they lost all of their volunteers because
Yes.
people weren't coming
Yeah.
in person.
Yeah.
And even though working from home had been a thing long before the pandemic,
Yeah.
people just, it was like that Ricky Bobby moment. I don't know what to do with my hands. Like, all right, so I want to help you, but I don't even know how to do this now. I don't know how to make this happen. So I just started learning. I just started learning and I just started diving in. And, from 2019 to present, we've done my human resources company has committed over 900 pro bono hours to social good
Wow.
entities. And I'll continue to do that because I think it's a worthwhile thing. But that's really what made me double down, and
Yeah.
seeing even within nonprofits some of the things I loved and some of the things I really disliked. That I don't want the politics. I don't want
Mm.
oh, okay, no, this is all about us. We can't connect with I can't connect with other agencies. I can't connect with other nonprofits because they might take our funding, or they might.
Yeah.
No, collaborate,
Yeah.
collaborate, collaborate. I
Yeah.
can't say that enough.
Yeah.
And that's why we connect with the hounds. That's why we connect with the outliers. It's why we connect
Yeah.
with other nonprofits, and why I missed the show last night, because I
That's
was
okay.
connecting with somebody. I was connecting with Struggle Is Your Success out of Canada. And I'm telling you, the work that they're doing is incredible. So why wouldn't I open resources
Yeah.
and help them out and be someone that stands up and says, I have a passion. I can have multiple passions. I can
Yeah.
care about multiple things. And if I truly care about other people, why am I not going to stand up and say, we've got some issues here and here and here, and I might have a suggestion that might help. So that's, for me, that's why it doubled down. And in 2022, we decided to start doing all the work to get this off the ground.
That's so beautiful. And I've said that before we went live, that I was going to give you the opportunity to talk about your nonprofit, because I know it is part of your purpose, and it is part of your passion, and who you are and who influences you as a human being. So of course that's important. So keeping with that tone, what exactly do you guys do? I know you went a little bit into it at the beginning, but concretely, what is it that you guys do, and how do you do it, and how can we support you? All three. Now I'm going to mute my
Well,
mic.
thank you so much for that, and giving me the space to share. I'll just say in the shortest time period possible, we at the heart of what we do are an advocacy group, a grassroots advocacy group built up of business leaders, authors, podcasters, global speakers, and people that are leaders. Whether they're employers and leading thousands of people, or they are solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, coaches, and consultants. And we all have a singular understanding of people over everything. Put people first. You care about your bottom line. If your bottom line is the thing you care about, then I'm going to teach you how to make that bottom line thrive by pouring into your people. You double down on taking care of your people, and your bottom line will thrive. Period. Yes. It's not this scarred up old hockey dude telling you. It's people a lot smarter than me that have figured this out and have been preaching about it for years and years and years.
And science is proving it now.
It's perfectly proven. You can research all the data yourself. You can go to Harvard. You can go to Forbes magazine. You can go Money magazine. You can look it up online in any format you want to. The data is there.
Yeah.
And so that's the core of what we do. 4 of our 6 programs are self-funded. Our 5th program is called Mentor for Good. It's our way to give back to other nonprofits that are starting. And we give you we help you get your sea legs. We tell you, here's the struggles we went through. Here's the pitfalls to avoid. Here's things that you should look at in order to get off the ground. And we be a resource for you. The funds that we get for that go into our biggest program, Transformation Kitchen. And that is what we're launching this year. That's our goal, is to launch in October of this year, put the first 5 students through the program, get them in the program, and start hiring people, get them on the payroll. And I've been looking at buildings. I've been looking at funding. I've been knocking on doors, and I will continue to do so until we make that happen. But Transformation Kitchen is about teaching culinary skills, power skills, life skills to people from underserved communities. And there's a lot of people in underserved communities, especially where I live.
Yeah.
And helping them get either a living wage job with the program itself as it grows, or with culinary partners that we've vetted. So this is something that I'm extremely passionate about. Obviously, not only because I've been in similar programs to that, we're doing things a little bit differently. But yeah, it's something that we want to make happen, because it's going to have this tremendous socioeconomic rippling effect, not only in the people and their families, but in the community itself. So,
yeah, and you changing the world starts by changing your community.
That's right.
That's it.
One person at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
One person at a time.
Yeah, I can't remember who said that, but and I don't think that the quote is going to be perfect, but it's, if you think that one person can't change the world, actually, in fact, it's the only thing that ever has.
I have it right. I literally have it on my desk.
Really? Oh, wonderful. You can tell me who it is. Because I can never remember.
It's Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has.
Amen. Amen.
Right? How incredible is that?
After this show, I'm going to connect you with my sister, because my sister has been working for nonprofits for the last 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And she has the biggest heart. If you think I'm nice, no, in comparison to my sister, I'm a bitch. Seriously, I'm not even kidding. So I'll, right after the show, I'll connect you guys, because she's looking for ways to be even more helpful, if that's possible. But how can other than money, of course, nonprofits always need money, and we know that, and of course you welcome money, that's no, without a doubt. But other than money, let's say I don't have $5 or 2 nickels to to put together. How can we support you?
I say this all the time. The easiest way that is free, that costs you nothing, is to share with your communities what we're doing. Share with your network, share with your community, share with your friends, share with your family, share with your other social media outlets, because there are some that, hey, we don't have a vibrant community on Facebook, because I wasn't on Facebook personally. Yeah. Our Instagram is, but we thrive on LinkedIn and we thrive on YouTube. And those are our two biggest platforms. But you may have a huge TikTok, group. You may just be killing it and have millions of followers.
Yeah.
Share with your networks. It is absolutely free. It costs you nothing except for maybe 5 minutes of your time to create a post, create a video, whatever it serves you and you are willing to do, and share what we are about, what we're doing. I have the stuff I could actually give you if you reach out to me. Hey, here's graphics. Here's a synopsis of what we do. Here's a synopsis of what we have going on with Transformation Kitchen. I can give all of that to you if you want it, or you can see it on our website. You can see it in our social media posts. Yeah. So that is the easiest thing. And thank you for asking that, because I can't thank people enough every time they do that. And we've had a ton of hounds. Wendy most recently, and Mike, and you, and Dr. New, and Dr. Leland. I mean, good grief. There's so many people here that have just I can go on. D. Grant, Meredith. I mean, Claudia making the graphic. I mean, good grief. So many wonderful people that are showing up that don't know me. They're just learning who I am, and they see it. It resonates with them. And if it doesn't resonate with you, I don't expect you to do anything. But if it resonates with you and you care about it, then shout about it, because that is how you create change. You create change one person at a time. You create change by talking about it. Oh, look at her. Look at Dr. New.
See, you know how wonderful.
Look at Dr. New.
We've said that earlier on the show. Like, there's nobody kinder than her. Like, I seriously, I almost have a complex when I'm with her, because I feel like I'm so totally imperfect and that she isn't. But that's okay. I mean, I'm perfect in my imperfections, and I'm sure she has at least one flaw. I, of course, can't name it, but anyway.
Embrace it. Embrace it. She is on our advisory board, so I can't. I mean, beautiful. She's incredible. So.
She's amazing. I don't think the only thing that I'll say about Dr. New is I don't think that she quite lives on the same planet that we do, and I'll explain why. Because I think her days have more hours. And I judge that by the amount of stuff that she does, like her and CJ, Dr. Leyland. I think that they have a little bit more extra hours. I don't know how exactly, but I think they have more time.
Yeah,
I did that.
Every time I think that every time I look at my list and all the stuff that I'm doing, and then I see what the two of them are doing, I'm like, please.
Yeah.
There she is. There's Level Up.
There you go. Thank you, CJ, for coming. Hey, it's so funny because what resonated, what came to me when you were talking about, like, share it as that's the greatest thing that you can do is because you show up. I have the same quote unquote complex when it comes to you, because you show up on people's lives. You show up on people's posts. You're like all over the place, and in an extremely positive way, obviously. And what resonated with me is, if you want to connect with people, if you want to make an impact, if you want to help the world, love others first.
Amen.
Show up first. And we were talking about that last night on the show with D. Grant Smith. And he's talking about how to influence, the book that was literally written 80 years ago. I can't remember the exact year, but it was a long time ago. It's how to influence people. And that's exactly what that is. And it's still it still applies today. It's not because the book has been written for decades that it's not valid. It's the same
Sure.
principles because human needs have not changed. So
Well,
you want a lot of friends, be a friend first. You want people to help you, help others first. You want, and that's what
show
you
up.
embody for me.
I
Because
appreciate
I
that.
mean, you've gone through on a lot of my lives. You've gone on Zoom call with me where you had better things to do, quite frankly, and that you are not. I mean, you were not my target audience, but you showed up just because I'm a cool chick. I have cool hair, and because you vibe with what I say, which is great. But you showed up, so obviously you're going to be here, and obviously I'm going to share what you do, and I'm going to do everything that I can.
Well,
So
thank you.
yeah.
Thank you very much. I try to make as many things as I possibly can that make sense.
Yeah.
And I love the hounds. I don't get on the chat and some of the things as much as
Neither
I
do
would love to,
I.
but you know what? I can't. I just can't. But
No.
I am always thinking about them. I was posting about them earlier today, and I appreciate everybody in the hounds. I appreciate all the love.
Yeah.
And thank you. I mean, thank you for asking the questions and for having me on the show. Good
Hey,
grief.
it
I would
was
go on the show if no one else showed up just to talk about that board and your hair. I mean, I can't. I've said this to you every time I see you. I cannot tell you how much I
Uh,
freaking love that board behind you. And
that's
if my
because you
wife,
are all these things.
my wife is, I know that when my wife watches this back, she's gonna go, I'm gonna do that to my hair. I'm gonna. She's got like silver gray hair, and I'm like, oh, she's gonna, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually not even a dye. It's just that gel you apply on your hair and it washes out. That's why sometimes it's extremely dark and sometimes it's light. Like I'm due, like it I would need to do it now. But next shampoo. So yeah, it washes out with shampoo. So and
Love
I
it.
actually like that better because it fades evenly instead of having just the line. And I can't believe we're literally talking about my hair on this show,
Good.
but
That's kind of
um
right.
and once in a while, I literally say it this way. Okay, I need a purple attitude change because I need the purple. Yeah, yeah. I've gotten so many compliments on the purple in my hair. It's not even funny. And this board is I can never.
Uh,
Like I mean, if
it's
I move,
so
I have to bring it. I can
it,
never,
it
ever,
doesn't. It's
ever. Yeah,
so awesome. It
yeah.
is so awesome.
Thank you.
I mean, it like really represents you too. Like after you
Yeah.
get to know you a little better, and you see the board, you're like, if I didn't see the board, I'd be like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
What's going on? So
Yeah, it's so
it's
funny
fantastic.
because sometimes if I have a Zoom call where it's just not working or whatever, and I'm not sitting at my desk, that's the first question people ask is, "Oh, Isabel, you're not in your office?" I'm like,
Oh my goodness.
I always end the show with the same way. I offer the opportunity to my guests to ask me anything they want. So, beautiful Chason, that I love so much, do you have a question for me?
I do
I
because
know you do.
I've been thinking about this for a while actually, and when you said I got the opportunity, I'm like, oh, perfect timing.
Bam.
I actually, one of the things that I do, that another thing that I'm passionate about is I volunteer, I mentor veterans that are transitioning from the military
Mm,
to civilian life with
yes.
a company called American Corporate Partners, or ACP. And so I would, my question to you, and we may not have enough time to go through it, but you can answer in any way you feel appropriate. How was your transition out of the military, and what do you feel is appropriate to talk about for what we need to do in all countries to support veterans better?
Okay, so the short answer to that is my transition to civilian life was hard as fuck. I can't tame that language. It was difficult. I was 100% lost on pretty much all levels. Financially, going to civilian life was was a 50% wager lost. I lost my sense of belonging. I had been only dating military men because I mean, how you date people you meet.
Yeah, that
And
you're
I
around.
would,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, and I lived on base, I partied on base, so it was a big, big, big part of my identity. And yeah, so it was extremely, extremely hard. And I have, like most human, um I need time to digest things. And it wasn't until I had been out of the military for at least 6 or 7 years before I realized just how hard that transition had been. Because it impacts everything. At least it did for me. It's what do I wear to go to work now? Because I
Yeah.
can't only have jeans, right? Because I went from being military to being a sales rep. So I need like clothes that I have to pay. I need to make friends that are not in the military. I was in the new city too because my last posting I moved from one city to the other, so I had no friends other than a few of my ex-military friends, or they were ex-military and not ex-friends that were also transitioning and lived close by. Thank God, my then and still now BFF was the same thing. She was transitioning to her civilian life, and she lived like 2 miles away from my house. So that kind of was a big savior for me. But everything was hard, everything. And at the time, I left a long time ago. I took my release in 99. There was no support. There was none.
Yeah.
You just, okay, thank you for your service. Bye bye.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't really know how I survived that. More than likely is because I had survived worst. So it was just, yeah, it was hard. It was really, really hard. And I doubted my decision for years. I would very often cry and go, what the fuck did I do? What did I do to myself? Why did I do this to myself? Um, Now looking back, it was the absolutely best thing for me to leave the military, not because the military isn't good, it just wasn't right for me. Although there are many, many, many great lessons that I took from that experience, and work ethic I still apply to my life now and to my business. And part of my business is actually showing people that you don't need to like somebody to get along with them. You don't need to get along to respect someone's opinions. And it's just the fact that you are both humans should be enough. Don't have to have the same politics, the same view, the same religion, the same anything to get along with people and actually work with somebody. So what do I wish that would have been there? What would have made my life easier? I honestly am not sure that there is something, and I'm going to explain why, because I think this only applies to my stubborn head.
Okay.
Um, I was 27. I knew everything. I was extremely arrogant and cocky, which thank God I'm not anymore. I don't think anyway. Um, And even if there had been support or a team to say, well, this is what you're going to go through, and this is what's going to happen, and this is how we can help, more than likely I wouldn't have listened anyway. Because at the time, I just needed every lesson to be hard
Mm,
because I wasn't worthy of easy. However, that's me at the time. However, I think that there is, as far as the Canadian forces is concerned, I think there is more support now, and helping people do the transition and help people even find housing off base and find a civilian job, or at least accompany them into writing a CV, because we never have to do that
right.
ever. So, and that is extremely, extremely, extremely important. and I am part. I don't think I've ever shared this on like anywhere. I'm part of an organization here in Canada that's called Soldiers and Helping Soldiers, and we literally go in the streets and we find homeless vets, and we help to feed them. We help to at least have access to what rightfully comes back to them for putting their life in danger for their country. So, and recently I wasn't part of that because I deal with the women homeless veterans. But we recently, as a team, took 3 vets off the street. And Jason, I cannot tell you, just being part of any organization that can do that is heartwarming. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that.
It's not easy because excuse me. Nothing to me. I don't know what it's like to never have served your country, but to me, nothing gives you a greater sense of service than serving your country. Nothing has ever come close in my personal life or professional life since. Nothing.
Wow.
So, and since I have a high sense of duty and a high sense of service and a high sense of purpose, it's just that I didn't like the job, So yeah, and that's it. Does that answer your question?
I mean, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
So thank you for giving me the space to ask the question.
Hey, I told you before the show, I'll answer anything.
You saw my eyes light up when you.
I had no idea where you were going with this. I knew it wasn't going to be an indecent question, but yeah, I really didn't know where you were going to go. Guys, Chason, thank you so much for giving me your time. Thank you for all the work that you do. Thank you for showing up and being the magnificent, extraordinary person that you are. And keep going at it, and just I believe in you, the hands believe in you, we all love you. And guys in the audience, thank you to Sindel for running the back end. It was her first time. She did it flawlessly, and next week she's gonna do a little 2 minutes so she can introduce herself. Thank you for Mike, dear Mike, my beloved friend, for showing up for me every week, even though you don't have time. I appreciate you, brother. And I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.